Welcome to Week 8. During this week, we will compare and contrast the differences between empirical research and filtered sources of evidence, differentiate between types of research reviews, review the levels of evidence in research studies. So during this week, we're going to be focused on filtered sources of evidence. These are called filtered because other people are assessing and reviewing the primary sources. These sources may include meta-analyses, meta-syntheses, and mixed method synthesis. And those are all systematic reviews. Not systemic, but systematic reviews. There's also other types of reviews. In fact, there's up to 14 type of reviews. There's integrated reviews, scoping reviews, clinical practice guidelines, care bundles, clinical decision support, etc., etc. So we will dive a little deeper into these this week. In the last couple of weeks, we looked at empirical studies, or studies that you can observe, or where you get data from doing experiments. These are called primary studies, and there can be quantitative research, qualitative, and mixed methods. So far, we've just been concentrating on those empirical types of evidence. But this week, we're going to look at evidence that's been pre-appraised. It's also called filtered data or secondary evidence. This is because somebody's looking at the quality of studies that have already been conducted. So these can be systematic reviews, clinical practice guidelines, and care bundles. As you can see from this hierarchy of evidence pyramid, meta-analyses are right at the top of the pyramid. Those can be Cochrane databases, databases of abstractive reviews. There's also a Campbell collaboration library of systematic reviews, and the TRIP database. These are all websites where you can go in and find different types of systematic reviews. So those are at the top of the pyramid, and they are the highest level of evidence because somebody has looked at a bunch of studies and said, hey, these are high quality, these are robust, and if they all are put together and compiled, the outcomes or the conclusion from these studies we can depend upon. So right under that goes the critical appraised topics, and that's also filtered information. So there's some examples over there. So those are like the care bundles and clinical guidelines. And then we have under that, we go to our unfiltered studies or our empirical studies. So we have our randomized control trials, our cohort studies, case control, case report and case series, and background information or expert opinion. For the discussion this week, you're going to find one systematic review and describe this review to the class. You also want to consider effect size, and you can find information about effect size on page 36 of your Pollitt and Beck book. This week discussion is going to be in a little different format. What I'd like you to do is practice using Google Slides. So if you go to the link at the bottom of the Canvas assignment for this discussion, you'll see technical instructions at this link here. And if you click on that, it is a presentation that will show you exactly how to create the slides and how you can embed videos using different types of medium. You only need to do 2 to 3 slides, but I want you to do it this way so that when you get to some assignments in the future where we're using this type of presentation format, that you will understand how to do this. For the learning activity of this week, what you will do is you can use the same systematic review that you discussed in the discussion postings or the discussion Google Slides. And what you should do with this is to critically appraise it. So in the Canvas assignments for week 8. There is a link here to the Joanna Briggs Institute Critical Appraisal Tool. So you can click on that, and it will bring you to a list of different types of critical appraisal tools. So it's just loading up here. So you can see here, there is a checklist for analytical cross-sectional studies, one for case control studies. If you go down the list a little bit, there's one here for systematic reviews. So what you can do is you can open that. It's a PDF. You scroll through there. Maybe you can just take this part here and cut and paste it onto a Word document, and then fill it in. Fill in your name here, the information. You put the reference of the systematic review here, and then answer the questions about it. So this is how a checklist for when you're doing a literature review and you're assessing what the quality of the data is. Are you going to take the systematic review and use it to make to influence your decision on how to care for your patients? If all the answers here are yes, and it's a good quality systematic review, then you might overall appraise it as include here. If you have a lot of no's or unclear, then you might want to say exclude. If you're not really sure and you've got a mix yes and no's, you might want to say seek further information. As you can see on this next page here, there is the reference for this checklist, but this is not in APA format, so you have to do a little changing around of the format of this. But that is the reference for the checklist. So there's just instructions here about each one of the questions, what you should consider when you're answering the questions. So for this paper, I also want you to discuss the type of review. Is it a meta-analysis, a meta-synthesis, mixed method synthesis? And tell me what the level of evidence is. And what is the quality of evidence that you assess using that critique tool? And furthermore, the last thing I want you to do is tell me if you would change your practice based on this review. So you will submit a 1 to 2 page paper. On the first page, you'll have the title page. The second page, you can have a few paragraphs summing up, introducing what you're doing, the type of review, and everything that you're supposed to have in that paper that we just reviewed. And what I want you to do is attach the critical appraisal tool as an appendix to the paper. So I've thrown in a little video here about how to format appendices in a paper, and this is also in your APA textbook. And you can also go to the APA style blog and ask, how do I attach an appendix in a Word document? So I think that is it. If you have any questions, please put them right into the Ask the Instructor question area right here. And you can also feel free to give me a text or shoot me an email. All right, well, I hope we have a great week. Talk to you later.